Hello everybody, it's Voodoo51292 here, and I'm making another one of these, I guess you could call it special update videos, or whatever you'd like to call it. That's generally what I call it. But it's a video that I'm making kind of out of my ordinary realm of videos. But this is going to be a video that's going to be very similar to another video I had made back, I think it was maybe 3 months ago in April of this year. And I think then I called it, Why My Channel is So Slow in the Spring of 2012, or to begin 2012 or whatever. Well, this video is basically part 2 to that, where I'm going to talk to you guys about why my channel has remained slow through the summer of 2012, because you'll notice that the pace has not really picked up at all. It's still taking me a long time to get through some games. And I feel like I kind of owe you guys an explanation as to why this is. Now, maybe I don't owe you guys an explanation since I do this as a hobby. I do it for fun, for me. It's not a job. It's not anything like that. So maybe I don't owe anybody an explanation. But I feel like I should at least make a video talking about some things to my viewers, the people who enjoy my channel, who do watch the stuff and might be wondering why stuff hasn't been, why things haven't picked up in summer, when maybe I said earlier that they might. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Now, many of the things I'm going to talk about are going to be very familiar to things that I talked about in that previous video about early 2012. Many of the reasons are still the same. Some things might be different, but it's a lot of the same reasons. So to start, okay, there's many different reasons, but I guess the big one that I'll take care of first is the time issue. And believe it or not, when I tell you that I actually had more free time when I was in school last semester than I do now during the summer when I'm off. And a big reason for that is work, obviously. Now, it has tapered off a little bit at the end now. In the beginning of the summer, I was working anywhere from 30 to 35 hour work weeks, which is close to full time, alright? That's a lot of hours a week. And so, in the beginning of summer, I was pretty much completely swamped with responsibilities. Work mainly taking up the majority of it. Now, 35 hours a week working, when you're in school, in college like I am, I'm only taking maybe 14 hours or something, maybe only in class, maybe 16 a week, 16 hours a week or so. That's like half of what I was working. So simply the time is, cut in half when I'm in school as far as when I'm actually out of the house or, away and not able to do anything. And I was, in the beginning of the summer, I was trying to balance working that many hours with doing all the things outside of that, basically spending time with friends, seeing my girlfriend on a regular basis, spending time with my family, doing all that kind of stuff, balancing all those hours, was just completely eating up my time. I had really little to no free time whatsoever, okay? Now, since then, they've actually hired a couple extra people over at the vet clinic. They did this a while ago, last month. And since they hired a couple of new people, my hours have gone down to where I'm only working maybe about half of what I worked before. Usually about 16 to 20 hour weeks. I was working at the vet. Now, for the past few weeks, in addition to working at the vet, I've also been going into my dad's office. He owns his own accounting firm. So on days off, I've been going into his office, and things like that. And that's kind of at the point I am now. Like this week I have like 21 hours at the vet. I don't know if I'm going to go into my dad's office like one day this week. Probably not. But yeah, so it's kind of tapered off from the craziness that it has been. But by no means am I still, by no means do I have all this free time to just devote to the channel. And let me basically explain to you why I'm so much busier now and so many more things require my attention now than I did when I was in school. For instance, when I was in school, okay, I already talked about how many less hours I was actually in class as opposed to working, all right? Now on top of that, I didn't have to set any kind of special time aside to see my friends or any kind of stuff like that because I lived with them. I saw them on a daily basis, so it wasn't like, I was taking a whole day and putting it aside to hang out with my friends to where I wasn't doing any footage because I was hanging out with them. I lived with them, saw them every day, we hung out every day. They were my roommates, so I obviously didn't need to take out that extra time. As far as seeing my girlfriend, again, we lived at that point about 5 minutes away from each other. Now there were some nights where I still did see her, but a lot of times I would see her during the day on campus or whatever, and I didn't set aside as many complete days to hang out and see her. So that was another issue. Also, when I'm up at school, I'm not with my family, okay? I go to school about 60 to 70 miles away from home, so I'm not around my family, so I just can't see them. So I don't set aside days and times like that to hang out with my family and see them because I can't. So I just have much more free time. Now, not to say that I have just, unlimited free time, because a lot of times I'm busy. I have class to go to, I have homework, I have studying, I have a lot of things to do. But I have more open time, more free time than I do during the summer, because when I'm here, like I said, I have to set aside days for my girlfriend to come over. That takes up the entire day. I can't do any filming. I have to if I want to hang out with my friends, I set aside days for them to come over. Can't do anything. When I'm here, there's many different family members that I take time out to hang out with and see. And then there's work. So when I tell you that I've been very busy this summer and time's been limited, I mean it. So that's one big reason why things haven't really picked up, is because a lot of times I just don't have the free time in order to do that. Now, there are obviously times when I am free, okay? But a lot of those times, I take them as me time. I use those opportunities, because they're kind of slim, to maybe just veg out, sit in bed, and watch YouTube videos, watch other YouTube videos, watch a DSP playthrough, just relax. Because it does actually take effort, sometimes a good bit of it, to do playthroughs, because you have to set up the camera. Sometimes it can be a pain to try to line the camera up perfectly. Then you have to do the gameplay, you have to do the commentary, try to make it funny, you're obviously trying to do good at the game, and do all this stuff. So it does require some effort. A lot of times during my free time, I just, want to chill out, want to veg out, and watch YouTube videos or do whatever, and have some personal time for me where I'm not doing games. But that kind of ties directly into the next point, which is very similar to what I said in that previous video a few months back, is I don't have that driving desire to play these games because the quality of games still has not really gotten much better. First of all, there haven't been that many games that have come out this summer, okay, that I was interested in playing. You had Max Payne 3 and Ghost Recon Future Soldier that came out. Max Payne 3 took me a little while to beat, but once I got into Max Payne 3, I actually really enjoyed it. Definitely one of my favorite games of the year. Ghost Recon, not so much. Pretty generic, and I didn't do a review of that because I never got around to doing the multiplayer, but basically to tell you, the game was okay. It wasn't anything special. It got pretty boring at points, and it was just third-person shooter war game. All right. Now the game that I'm currently playing is Spec Ops: The Line, and I did another 8 parts of it tonight, and I just didn't want to push myself to continue and do another 8 parts or whatever, because the game so far is just not that exciting. It's not a bad game, but it's just like everything else I've been playing. It's another third-person cover-based shooter game. And think about it, this is like the 4th one in a row I've played. I mean, we did Operation Raccoon City, which was a third-person shooter. I did Max Payne 3 for a third-person shooter. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, third-person shooter. And now I'm doing Spec Ops: The Line, which is another third-person shooter. And it's the same stuff. And it's just getting real old. And so, no, I don't have that driving desire to sit down and keep pumping through the game, because I'm not finding that much excitement out of it. It's just run here, take cover, shoot an enemy, shoot more enemies, shoot more enemies, pick up your assault rifle and shoot enemies, pick up a sniper rifle and hit those guys far away, do this, fight this heavy. You know, it's just more of the same. And if there were great games that were coming out right now, then I probably would, during those free times, have that urge to step up and go and play these games and get them up on the channel. But as it is right now, it's just not that exciting. It hasn't been all year. The game quality this year, I keep harping on it, but it's the truth. If you pretty much ask any gamer out there right now, the game quality in 2012 has really been underwhelming, to say the least. And there's been a couple of really good games, but for the majority of the year, it's just been not very exciting. Now, of course, the hope is, and the thinking is obviously, that at the end of this year, that's all going to change. Starting in September or so, August, September of this year, as it usually does, when all the blockbuster games start to come out. And it certainly looks that way this year for 2012. There's a lot of great titles that are slated to come out that I can't wait for. I've been waiting for all year. I've been saying, I have been waiting since the beginning of this year for September, because that's when all the great games are coming out. A couple or 3 games that I'm looking at that I'm going to be purchasing. The first purchases of the year for me for 2012, because I haven't really wanted to get anything else. So I'm getting really excited, but right now it's just kind of dead. I mean, I have Spec Ops: The Line to play. Once I get through that game, there's nothing new. Now, absolutely, I could go back and play more Skyrim. There's stuff I can do, but it's hard for me to justify the few amount of times this summer that I've done videos. It's hard to justify going back and playing a game, an older game, when I have a new release, because by this time it's not really brand new, but, a game that I'm in the middle of, it's hard to justify not playing that game and going back to something older. Now, I know that it's up to me, because it's my own personal thing, and I do what I enjoy, but that's just me. That's who I am. I like to get finished with one thing before I, if I'm gonna film, I want to do the new stuff. That's just how I am. But that's kind of the deal. It's kind of where we stand with the whole thing. Is it's like, I don't have a lot of time, and the time that I do have free, a lot of those times, I just don't feel like filming, doing gameplay, because the games haven't been that great. Again, Max Payne 3 was pretty good. It took me a while, but when I finally jumped back into Max Payne 3, I played a lot of Max Payne 3 and knocked it out in a couple of days, because I really was enjoying the game. But for games like Ghost Recon, and now again for Spec Ops: The Line, they weren't bad games per se, but they were just Ghost Recon and so far Spec Ops have just been the same thing, the same game that we've all played 100 times. And, I can't judge Spec Ops at this point, obviously, because I'm still, pretty early in the game. There's a lot of game left, and it could very well pick up and be a very good game. I'm just saying the experience I've had with it so far is it's not really bringing anything new to the table. This is not, it's not a quirky style. It's a third-person cover-based military-type shooter. I've played 100 of those games, and it's just kind of getting old. Now, I will at some point complete Spec Ops: The Line. It's not that long of a game from what I've seen, maybe 6 hours long. But actually my goal is, and I'll talk about this in my channel update, I'm off of work tomorrow on Tuesday. My goal is to actually sit down and play a ton of the game tomorrow, just to try and go through it, so that it's not another loose end hanging out there. And then maybe when I'm free, I can play some Skyrim or do some stuff like that until the new releases come out. But it's just not making me want to sit down and pump through the game. And that's pretty much the bottom line. And you haven't seen much of Brandon on the channel. I've already kind of explained that he's going through some personal stuff, and so he hasn't really been about YouTube this summer, which is perfectly understandable and reasonable from his point of view. We did the E3 thing earlier in the summer, which got a lot of views, was very positive, which was cool. And I certainly hope to be able to do some more stuff with him as the year goes on, as things for him get better, as I know they will. And but yeah, all I can deliver to you is the same message that I delivered to you 3 months ago. Don't get discouraged, don't get disappointed, because what everybody's waiting for, what I'm waiting for, what you guys should be waiting for, is the last quarter of this year. We're talking September through the end of the year. What I'm actually going to do right now, let me grab my computer, because I have a list of games on my queue already for GameFly of the games that I'll be checking out at the end of the year, which you've probably heard most of these in my last game schedule update video or whatever. But I'm going to go through them again. So, what I have on my list right now for the rest of the year, okay, we've got Darksiders 2, which comes out August the 14th, and then it really starts picking up. We've got Borderlands 2, which I'm very pumped for. I'm very excited for Borderlands 2. I want to play that game very badly. That actually comes out on my girlfriend and I's fifth anniversary, or 5-year anniversary of being together, September 18th. That comes out. Then the month after that, October 2nd, we have Resident Evil 6, which is a big one that I'm looking forward to playing. The week after that, on October the 9th, Dishonored, a game by Bethesda and I believe Arcane Studios. Game looks awesome. I can't wait for that. October 23rd, right now I have Medal of Honor Warfighter, and that's not that great. Then October 30th, right now my most anticipated game of 2012, Assassin's Creed 3 comes out, which I just can't wait for, and I'm like jumping out of my seat wanting to play that game. The week after that, on November 6th, you have Halo 4, Big Whoopee. I'm sorry, did I say the right month? November 6th. I don't know if I said the wrong month. I might have said October by mistake. Anyway, then November 13th, Black Ops 2, which I'm cautiously optimistic about and looking forward to, simply because I want to give Treyarch another opportunity, because I did like Black Ops, and I kind of like the new direction they're seemingly going with Black Ops 2. I'll be playing that. The week after that, November 20th, you have Hitman Absolution, which looks like a pretty cool game. And then there's actually a release in December the 4th, Far Cry 3, which looks like a crazy game, but also a fun game that has like 4-player co-op and all. That's coming out on the 4th of December. So, a lot of good games coming out at the end of this year. The problem is we just have to make it to the end of the year. And, that's what I want to stress to everybody. That's the time that you should be looking for, is August, around that time when Darksiders 2 comes out, kind of through the end of 2012. Sorry, getting a drink. So that's that's kind of the deal with what's going on. And yeah, I know that the Dawnguard DLC for Skyrim came out on Xbox 360, but I haven't played nearly enough, in my opinion, to do the DLC. I need to play a lot more of the game before I play the Dawnguard DLC. So that's the reason that I haven't checked that out. But yeah, again, guys, I just wanted to kind of make this video to let you guys know the main reasons why the channel has been the way it hasn't really picked up since the spring. Kind of the same thing as earlier this year, a giant time crunch issue, and the fact that the games are just not riveting to me right now. I mean, you have DSP over on his channel. For the past like 3 weeks, he's been doing random marathons of games like Spider-Man and Digital Picture Zone because there's nothing happening right now. This is always the dead time for games. Again, I have a new game to play, Spec Ops: The Line, but you know, it's not really grabbing my attention. It's not fascinating me that much, and so it's taken me a little while to get through it. But I did do 8 more parts today. I'm planning on doing a lot more of it tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But again, I want to thank everybody for staying in there. I'm still gaining subscribers somehow, even though I haven't been doing much. I have over 200 now. I think I might have like 202. So thank you to everybody. If you're sticking in there, going through this slow period with me, and waiting for the end of the year like I am, I really appreciate it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the channel will come back strong at the end of this year. Barring any craziness, which I really hope doesn't happen, like school being massively difficult, way more than I think it's going to be, or some, you know, God forbid, crazy stuff, personal stuff or whatever. Barring any of that stuff, the plan is that for the end of the year, it's going to be a blast. We're going to be doing a lot of gameplay, playing a lot of good games, and that's the hope. And hopefully the channel will get back to form. And so far, it looks like 2013 is going to be a lot more like 2011 was. We've got some amazing titles already that are coming out in the early parts of 2013, whereas this year we had very, very few. But in 2013, the front end of the year looks loaded because a lot of good games that were supposed to come out at the end of this year have been pushed back to the beginning of next year. You've got all kinds of stuff. You've got I actually have some of them already on my list. But yeah, you've got Bioshock Infinite coming out early next year. Dead Space 3 is going to be coming out early next year. The Tomb Raider reboot is coming out. God of War Ascension. And who knows, some of these other games, maybe The Last of Us will finally come out early that year. Beyond Two Souls, who knows how far that is in development. So, really good promise for the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013. We just have to make it there. So, that's the news. Wanted to let you guys know, make a video to let you know I haven't forgot about you. I haven't been blowing the channel off for no reason. This is what's been going on. So thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope that everybody sticks in there, and I will at some point get through Spec Ops: The Line. It's just a matter of time, alright? So thank you guys very much. I'm Voodoo51292, and I will see everybody with more footage and the channel update for this week, which is coming up next. So be sure to check that out. So I'll see you later. Bye.